Now, traps and snares, there's all kinds of them out there. You need the proper equipment.
My name's Chet Hayes. I'm a member of the United Trappers of Kentucky. Our organization's been invited by the Fish and Wildlife Department to take part in this DVD along with another great trapping organization, the Kentucky Fur Takers. We're trying to help landowners get started on controlling some of their own coyote problems through trapping and snaring. So we're going to show you some basic methods and techniques today. These are by no means the only methods, techniques, and equipment that can be used, but we've chosen what we're going to show you here today as a good basic way to get started on controlling your coyotes. One of the first things that has to happen before you can catch a coyote in a foothold trap is to have that trap and the equipment related to it at the set clean, odor-free, and operational. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. There are several trap manufacturers, many good traps. I've got a bunch here that can and will catch and hold coyotes in different degrees. This is a double long spring, a number 2. This is a double coil spring, triggerless or dogless. And then this is also a coil spring round jaw. And then this is a coil spring square jaw. For a good start, I think 2 good traps, and I'm going to name these manufacturers. These are 2 very good traps that you can buy right out of the box that will work for you. And one is the Sleepy Creek 1 3/4 size trap, a good trap for coyote. It has offset jaws, good heavy chain, swivels, and it's chained off of the center of the base, which makes it a very good feature. It also has a little bit longer chain, which keeps the coyotes from jacking these stakes out of the ground. We'll talk about that. But this is a very good, affordable trap right out of the box. It's one that I use and a lot of us use. So this is a good trap to consider. Another very good trap is the Bridger model, and this is a Bridger square jaw in a number 2 size. This one also has good swivel, heavy chain, and it's centered off the middle of the base here. It's also a very good trap. So the Bridger number 2 and the Sleepy Creek 1 3/4. There's a lot of other traps, but these are easily located. They're affordable in price. They're a trap that we would recommend. A lot of things need to happen before you can put this trap in the ground. This is a brand new trap, and this is one of the Bridger number 2s. This is a brand new trap out of the box. You'll notice it's shiny. It has factory grease and oil on it. You are not going to catch a coyote in a trap that looks or smells like this. You can see that factory grease that I've wiped off of there. That has to be taken off. So the first thing you want to do with any of these new traps that you buy, you want to wash them in a hot soapy solution. You can do it in your dishwasher, you can do it in a clean tub, but wash all the factory grease and oil off of these traps. If you need to do it several times to get the grease off, but try to get every trace of grease off of these traps. That is step 1. Do not ever set a trap in this condition in the ground and expect to catch coyote. The next step is to rust the trap. And the reason for rusting is to pit the metal of the trap so that it will take the dye and the coloring and the wax that we're going to give it later on. What I generally do is just lay these traps out on the ground after they've been washed, and it'll take about a week to 10 days in most weather conditions. They'll start to take on a light coat of rust like this one. The next step is to dye and color your traps. We recommend the old style, which is to dye them in something natural. Now, this is logwood trap powder. This is logwood powder. This is mixed at a rate. This is a 1-pound sack. This is mixed in about 5 gallons of water. About 1 pack per 5 gallons of water is fine. You can use a clean galvanized tub or barrel. Throw your water in, stir this in, and your traps can be boiled in that. Bring that water to a boil. Bring this to a boil with it. Then put your traps in, and your initial coloring on a trap like this will take about an hour. When the trap comes out, they can be put out on the ground to dry. The next step, and it's generally a pretty necessary step in Kentucky because of our damp weather, but the next step is to wax these traps. This is commercial trap wax. It's rendered beeswax, and this is used for dipping the traps into, and it coats them with a coat of wax. It prevents the rusting process or slows it down once the trap is in the ground. It also seals out any odors. It makes the trap faster. So these 1 pound cakes of wax can be melted in a clean tub. I've got a galvanized tub here, which I use, and I'll put about 10 pounds of that in here and melt it over a fire. Be very careful because the wax is flammable. And actually, before the traps go into the wax, I've got a name tag here. Kentucky regulations require that every trap have a name tag. You can buy these from trapping supply dealers, or they could be made with a piece of an aluminum pop can with your name written on that. That'll take with a ballpoint pen or an etching tool. What I usually do is just go ahead and put that on about the second or third link of chain. I'll just go ahead and fold that trap tag over like that. Take my pliers and compress it down, and that way it'll stay on there after it takes the jerking and the biting and the beating and the tugging that the coyote's going to give it. Once the wax reaches a molten state, then the traps can one by one be dipped into here, and they will take on that color. They'll have a nice black color, and they'll be lightning fast and shiny black. So that's kind of what you want. The dyeing and waxing process, for most trappers, it takes place in the fall of the year before trapping season. All the traps are treated and dyed as needed. When a catch is made, oftentimes the trap will be polished off, especially in wet weather. These coatings with the wax and the dye only last so long. And especially with the use of calcium chloride or salts in the soil, that can start the rusting process. So the dyeing and waxing process sometimes is ongoing. If you have a large number of traps, you can simply dye and wax enough to last you the whole season, and then do them all again at the beginning of next season. If not, you may have to periodically pull these traps as they get dirtied or start to rust or get polished off, replace them with a clean trap at each set when you make a catch and that trap's polished off, then go ahead and take these traps back home and redo them. So it's kind of it can be an ongoing process if you don't have enough of the traps, to last you the entire season.